war is over! Hello Eternity Steppers, I'm James and welcome to the God Reprise videos. Today we're going to talk about God's will for your life. He has one, and I'm going to show you how to find out what it is. First, understand that God has one. He has a plan for your life. He does. Let's turn to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 1, verse 5. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee, and before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee, and before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee. Before you were formed in the belly of your mom, God knew you. And before you came out the womb, God knew you. Before you were in the belly and before you came out, God knew you. God knows you. Turn to Jeremiah chapter 29, same book, verse 11. For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. God has thoughts that He thinks towards you and all of us. Thoughts of peace, not of evil, to give you an expected end. God has thoughts and plans for you. He is thinking about you right now, and He's always thinking about you, and He knows the thoughts He thinks about you to give you thoughts of peace, yay, not of evil, and to give you an expected end. God has a will for your life. Now, 2, ask Him what it is. Let's turn to the book of James, the epistle general of James. Chapter 1, verse 5 through 8. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God that giveth to all men liberally and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering, for he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed. For let not that man think that he shall receive anything. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Verse 5. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God that giveth to all men liberally and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. Ask God what His will is for your life. Let's turn to Proverbs 3. The book of Proverbs, verses 5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct thy paths. Ask God what His will is for your life. Just ask Him. Know it? Yes. No, there is a will of God for your life, but 2, you have to ask Him. Ask Him. And Psalm 37:5. Still an ask Him what it is. The book of Psalm 37:5. Commit thy way unto the Lord, trust also in Him, and He shall bring it to pass. Commit it. Commit your way to the Lord, and He shall trust also in Him, and He shall bring it to pass. This moves off also into the third point, but the first part is commit thy way unto the Lord, trust also in Him, and He shall bring it to pass. Commit your way into the Lord. You bring it to Him. You commit yourself and tell Him that you are going to do it. Actually, that probably, I'll make this point 3. Commit yourself to the Lord, which is part of asking. Once you find out what it is and you asked Him, you do have to commit yourself to it. But this is part of asking Him. You commit. You actually make a purpose decision that you're going to commit your life to God, and you ask Him what He has for you to do. And of course, you trust in Him, also in Him, and He brings it to pass. This is part of asking. You ask Him, you trust Him that He's going to tell you what it is. Believe Him. Which goes into point 3. After you first know of all that God has a will for your life. 2, ask Him what it is. 3, believe it. And it does say, trust also in Him, and He shall bring it to pass in Psalm 37:5. But let's turn to Psalm 37:23. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and He delighteth in His way. You have to believe that God is ordering your steps, especially when you know He has a will for you and you ask Him for it. You have to believe that God is ordering your steps. You have to walk in faith, not the external. You have to walk in faith. Philippians 2:13. Believe it. Philippians, the book of Philippians 2:13. For it is God which worketh in you both to will and to do of His good pleasure. You have to believe that God is working in you to both to will and to do of His good pleasure. If you know God has a will for your life, everyone, God has a will for your life. 2, you ask Him. Everybody got to ask Him. 3, you have to believe that He's willing and doing through you His good pleasure. You have to believe that. So, God's will for your life. It's really that simple. No, 1, He has one for you. 2, ask Him what it is. And 3, believe it. And remember, the model of the United States of America is, in God we trust.